Hi everyone and welcome to the Status Town Hall number 81 today on the 22nd of November 2021. I'm really excited to give you lots of updates today, and this will actually be our last town hall of the year. The next one will actually be in January with lots of exciting things for the year ahead in 2022. So without further ado, I will start the updates and we will go to People Ops first. So I'd like to welcome Monica to give the update for People Ops. Over to you, Monica.
Hey there. So for this town hall, we're going to talk about our engagement metrics that for those who are not familiar with the tool, we're using Peakon as our performance and engagement tool. And as you can see here, we're generally above the technology industry benchmark. And for you to interpret these numbers, the first one, the engagement score 8.6, talks about how excited people are to work at Status and kind of the enthusiasm and connection they have between all core contributors. And the second score, the ENPS score, talks about how likely would you recommend this workplace to other people. So there's definitely room for improvement, and we're still like testing out this tool and getting familiar with it. But it's quite exciting that we have good scores here. And I want to give a special shout out to Carl and Jared and the team leads who are making a special effort to get used to working on this, even though we still have to do some tweaks on how we put the questions and the frequency we're asking questions. We can jump to the next slide. Another thing that we can see in this tool is kind of the highlights and areas of improvement that people perceive in their day-to-day. And in terms of highlights, the tool told us that in terms of reward, mission, and fairness, people felt very comfortable with it. And an area of improvement is that it's definitely peer relationships, which like not having an all hands for a long while, I think has impacted that a lot. So when in person all hands, we haven't dropped the ball here. It's a matter of next week, Ricardo is going to joining the People Ops team full time, and this will be one of the first things or the main thing he'll be owning. So beware here, and soon we'll talk about the all hands. Other things that we've seen in terms of comments through Peakon is that people are very happy with their professional growth and kind of career plans they see in the project. Also, they highlighted how caring we are about each other, and new team members scored our onboarding very positively. An area of improvement, and we'll have to see obviously like on a case-by-case basis, but it's giving each other more direct feedback and kind of welcoming different opinions and how we can like get that more often and in the right setup. Of course, anniversaries. Congratulations to Shivek, Juan David, and Tetiana for their status anniversaries, 1 year, 1 year, and 4 years, and welcoming the new contributors, Jonathan, who's joining the UI developer team, and also Davies in the finance and accounting team, which I know that both teams are really, really excited to have you contributing to status.
Thank you very much, Monica. Next up, we're going to hear from Agata from the legal team. So over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Terry, for the handover. I'm very excited. It's my first town hall as a Chief Legal Officer for Status, and we have a few updates for you. We are preparing some automations to simplify the process for releasing and signing standard contracts to make this process easier for everyone. We are also in the process of reviewing our handbooks to align them better with how we work and the culture we're building. So we're working with that with People Ops. We have launched our contract management system and archiving systems. So we should have all our legal documentations nicely in order very soon. And if anyone has any ongoing agreements, please share them with us. Just email them to legal@status.im. and we will archive them within our new system. But also, if anyone has any kind of inquiry, question, legal issue that they would like to bounce off us, then please contact myself and Pablo on any of the channels that are available to us, really. So Discord, email, whichever way you feel more comfortable. And we will soon be launching a Discord channel, Ask Legal, so that there you will be able to post your legal questions to ask as well, to us as well. And that's all from us, and speak to you next time. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you so much, Agata. Nice to have you on board, and thank you for your debut contribution to the town hall today. Next up, we're going to hear from Andrea from the mobile team. So over to you.
Hi, Ty. Thank you. So what we've been working last week is on release 1.17, which has been released in both stores and F-Droid, I believe. And what we are currently working on is release 1.18. We're making good progress on it. Probably there's going to be still a couple of weeks before we can cut the release branch, but it really depends on how quickly we get the features through and what we want to get through in the next release. So what we're working on next is going to be, we're going to continue with communities, so polishing up and adding new features. We're working on swap support. We'll keep working on improv syncing, and we're also working on Wallet Connect 2 integration, which is the test trial for Wacom 2 version 2. So because it's the last time of the year that we're going to do this, we've collected a few of the things that are noteworthy that we've been working on this year. I think one of the biggest changes probably in the app was performance. I think that clearly shows in the UI, and also we reduced our Infura dependency, and we make less calls to Infura, and that helps us reduce the usage, network usage, and the token usage. We've done a lot of communities work, so there's still a lot to do, but we've made good progress on that, I would say. And also we started the wallet redesigns. That started with NFTs and swaps, and it's going to continue through the next year. Also, we are also improving syncing, and that's something that we picked up quite recently. And that's going to be an ongoing work because of desktop is getting more and more presence. So syncing is more needed than usual. And also I've looked at how many releases we've done. So we have had 8 releases. Probably 1.18 is going to go this year, so it's going to be 9 likely. Likely that we're going to have a 10, unless there's some bug fix or something, but hopefully no. Which is quite good. I think it's 1 every 5 to 6 weeks. That's a good pace, I think. So yeah, that's all from mobile. Thank you very much, Terry. Back to you.
Thanks, Andrea. Much appreciated. Next up, we're going to hear from Alec for growth and retention.
Thank you, Terry. Okay, so let's, like always, start with app installs. Since January this year, we had 2,060,000 app installs. Over 99% of those app installs happened on Google Play, mainly through Google Ads campaigns. As you may know, as you may remember from our previous town hall, our campaigns reach got limited by Google. And the same thing happened to us last year, but this time it's taking longer and will take a little longer, as it seems based on my emails and meetings with Google employees. The good thing is, early next year we will be able to expand the reach of our campaigns and run even more successful ones. So it's gonna be fine. Despite the current limitations, I try to constantly make adjustments right now aimed at just increasing the scale. Nonetheless, at the moment, our user acquisition is still a bit lower than the user churn. So as a result, as we'll see on the next slide, the installed audience has slightly decreased in the last 2 months. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, so we grew by over 300% from 270,000 users on January 1st to 640,000 on December 10th. Today we are around 583,000 users. So we've got almost 9% to catch up. Anyway, the goal for end of this year is to get as close to 600,000 as possible, and then go beyond to 1 million. It's not going to be super easy, but we are optimistic. And well, user acquisition isn't just a mere function of budget. Different markets have different potential, different cost per user, different retention, and all of this changes over time. So on top of that, we are actively running our paid campaigns on over 130 markets. So there are plenty of moving pieces here. But since we are on the subject of market, let's move to the next slide. And this slide, like always, shows where our users are coming from. I hope it's self-explanatory, but 6.86% of our users are from Brazil, and 6.53 from Tanzania, and so on. But as I said, our users come from all over the world. So let's look at it from a different perspective, which we will find on the next slide. So look at the very top of this chart, that there are 4 markets, 4 countries. From the previous slide, we remember that these are Brazil, Tanzania, Mali, Colombia, with 30 to 40,000 status users from Google Play. Next row, there are 4 markets, Philippines, Nigeria, Argentina, Ecuador, with 20 to 30,000 status users. And if you look at the very bottom, there are 93 countries with less than 100 status users on Google Play. So that's the distribution of countries by users. And I guess some of you are thinking right now, we need to focus our attention on these 93 countries in order to grow further. And the answer is, well, not exactly. It depends. We are constantly testing different markets. Some of those 93 countries we already experimented with. And also remember about the factors which I mentioned a few minutes ago: acquisition cost, retention, and a new one, legal regulations. And well, lastly, there are plenty of countries with more than 100 status users, and still with a huge potential for effective growth. And as an example, I'm going to be working more on a branding campaign and community building campaign targeting Africa. You all know we are very active in LATAM and get plenty of users from there, but by no means our work is done there. So there are still hundreds of thousands of users you can acquire in LATAM, in Asia, and so on. In short, branding and community building will be an important factor in our growth next year. Let's move to the next slide. I assume I got you all used to 12,000 daily active users, right? So, well, it's correct as an average for this whole year, but currently it's a little above 9,000. And you may ask, why is that? And the answer is retention. We all know that our retention will significantly improve the next year, but for now, it is what it is. So many of our daily active users are people we acquired the same day. That's why when the app installs go down, so do the daily active users. Our goal by the end of this year is to get above 10,000 and then return to 12,000 probably early next year, and later go further up to 15,000. But as you may know, may remember, not every daily active user becomes a peer. So let's take a look at peers on the next slide. So on average, there are 3,350 peers per day, which is about 27% of our Google Play daily active users. Note, however, that peers also, this chart also includes peers resulting from App Store installs and desktop users, and these aren't and can't be included in Google Play daily active users. So those 12,000 or 9,000 right now. So probably around 25% of our real daily active users, that is users who opened app, end up as peers. So they opened app and they log in. It seems to be very close to what we used to have when with 3 times as many daily app installs. So yeah, I think let's talk about onboarding process optimization someday. And now let's summarize it all on the next slide. So over 2,000 app installs, 12,000 daily active users, 3,300 daily active peers, and almost 600,000 Google accounts with our app. And that's all from me. Thank you. Have a great rest of this year, and back to you, Terry.
Thank you so much, Alec. That was so informative, and really appreciate you pulling all the stats and numbers together. Next up, we have another debut. So Serhan will give us an update for security, and then Jacob will give us an update for infra. So over to you first, Serhan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us for security updates today. First of all, I want to give updates about our digital workspace migration process, aka getting rid of G Suite or Google. So the test instances are already working thanks to Jacob and almost 35 people in our test group. Also, to focus more on security-related tasks, we plan to hire a contractor for the job done with a short period. The other important task for us that I want to talk about is mapping bug bounty submissions with OWASP MSTG, Mitre KPEG, to work with development teams to analyze root causes. So with that, we will analyze the root causes and behaviors to improve our software development processes. Also, we created custom labels on HackerOne and tagged the submissions related to mapping to tracking all of the submissions related with OWASP MSTG or Mitre KPEG. Well, let's see what do we have in our hands. Oh yes, the skills inventory. We created a skills inventory to understand the security team's skills to be more productive. We are using the inventory to distribute our tasks to each other. And another great improvement from security, we started to work on a document about the secure software development guide and security checklist to implement secure software development lifecycle in Status. It's going to be a long road for us, but it's definitely worth the wait, I believe. The other huge topic for security is about our bug bounty program. We would like to share some of the stats from the side of the bug bounty. Actually, the top of weaknesses detected are improper authentication, missing encryption of sensitive data, and information disclosure related with the privilege escalation. In the meantime, about $8,000 worth of bounty was awarded since the start of the year. Thanks for the details from Fred. Another significant improvement for our bug bounty program is that we have started to work on a treasure map for hackers. Our purpose is to show hackers what we are looking for. We believe if we can show what we are looking for on our bug bounty program, we can get more efficient submissions from hackers. So let's see what is going to happen in the next year. On the other hand, our team hosted 2 security awareness workshops about hardware wallets and workstation security. Kudos to Corey and Fred for perfect workshops. And we are working on 2 more Learn Up workshops about secure software development principles and code executions vulnerabilities. Probably the most important task on this slide is significant headway into organizational asset tracking and its associated risk and controls. Kudos to Fred again. It's a challenging task to do it in distributed team, but you nailed it, buddy. So let's talk about the threat models. Two different threat models for mobile apps and Status Quo are already ready and also published. And the new one is the desktop app on the road. Special thanks to Corey, the desktop team, also the mobile team and other teams related with that. So the last thing from these slides is about the improvement of on-chain assets management through purpose-based multi-signal wallets, which are finance payroll and the community token governance. Next slide, please. Okay, we have some exciting news for you. Our team is working on a Kudos project to improve our internal security processes. More details are coming soon. Special thanks to Johannes from finance team and kudos to Tobias for an excellent job. Also, the security team's API refactoring to the states organization and ecosystem is in progress. The other awesome thing is about username redesign. We are working with other teams to find the best way to redesign usernames. More details are coming soon. Last but not least, State Security disclosed a vulnerability in HackMD's user authentication authorization architecture. Jacob, you're the best man. So that's all from my side. Stay tuned for more updates. Thank you, Terry.
Cool. I guess that's me. Hey, people. We have a bunch of various fixes in terms of app building process. For example, we have improved Nix shells and their behavior when they're nested, which used to cause a lot of confusion to developers. Now that's not possible. We have some improvements to how we handle Gradle dependencies and how we parse POM files to figure out the type of dependencies, whether it's jar or AR. I'm rolling out new Mac Minis to our CI setup because one, they're cheaper, and two, from initial tests, it shows that they're slightly faster for iOS builds, and I think macOS builds for desktop as well. So that's going to be a nice improvement. The ultimate goal is also to get the fifth generation Mac Minis with Apple Silicon, which should even further improve the build times for iOS applications because you're building ARM on ARM, so that should be far better. So we should go down way below 10 minutes for iOS builds. There's some issues with builds on the new ARM64 architecture, though, which still haven't been figured out. So it's going to wait for a bit. I'm still working on that. There's also some issues we found with the newest Nix release, 2.4. Which has trouble essentially handling tags, and it handles tags like branches in Git, which breaks some of our dependency management. And there are also some improvements to just general dependency management for the mobile app and status go overrides. In the news for the fleet, we have finally upgraded our production fleet with the newest version of Status Go, which is in this case 89.2. This includes a lot of improvements and upgrades to, most importantly, libp2p, which does show in actually the performance of nodes and shows a greatly reduced usage of both CPU time and memory. I actually should have put a graph for that, but oh well. We also have a new fleet for Rocket Pool, which is a decentralized staking service for ETH2, which also uses Nimbus node for ETH2 syncing. And that's going to be interesting to work on to integrate properly. We also have a new Go Waco fleet and a new CI build process for Docker images for that fleet. And we have a new pinging or monitoring tool for communities, since mobile team is working on communities actively, and we need a way to essentially see how well the syncing of messages works. We'll also have some new work on messaging telemetry or specifically reliability of messaging in Status Go and other protocols we use. In regards of sites, we are mostly done with the process of migrating away from Cloudflare, at least for the status.im domain. Some other domains still use Cloudflare, but those domains aren't exactly public-facing. Those are infra-related pages which should not affect any normal users. So if you're worried about privacy, then sites like status.im do not send any traffic to Cloudflare. We'll also fix the cookie vulnerability in Redash in our BI setup, and some pinning issues with IPFS. And we also now have an integration with Discourse, so you can post comments using our Discourse instance on our main Ghost blog, which I guess will help with engaging the community. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sehen, and thank you, Jacob, for that extensive update from security and infrastructure. Next up, we are going to hear from Eduardo, another debut today, so thanks, Eduardo. And he's going to give us an update from marketing and communities. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. So about marketing updates. We have ambassadors very active all around the world. They are sharing knowledge about crypto, DeFi, NFTs, metaverse, and status. So kudos to all ambassadors. In November, we had the first technical meetup about the ETH Colombia Hackathon on the road to DevCon. About the communities feature, we are currently at the dogfooding phase, and we are getting some issues regarding message reliability. And we are hiring some new people to ensure that we pick up speed in shipping and deliver the feature sooner than later. And in the media around the world, we have been writing and publishing some nice content, helping the community to understand what's happening in the crypto world, metaverse, DeFi, and crypto social. So that's it about marketing. Next slide, please. Now let's chat about communities. So ambassadors, we had 18 completed tasks in October by ambassadors. We currently have 23 active ambassadors, and we consider one active ambassador anyone that completed at least one task over the past 3 months. We have ambassadors in Asia, Africa, Latin America, Europe, and United States. We have received 121 ambassador applications this year, and we had 11 applicants that joined the ambassador program and completed at least one task since the beginning of this year. We had one ambassador that has a podcast, and they have interviewed one of the Status members to talk about Status future plans, everything that Status has to offer. So the link is there. About ambassador meetups, we had 2 meetups in Uganda, November 11th, November 16th, a meetup in Colombia, November 17th, and a meetup in Italy in November 19th. About translations to different languages, we had 8 contributors. They have translated 1,722 words for version 1.18. Traditional Chinese, Russian, Japanese, Arabic, and etc. 70 languages have been translated. That's more than 90%. And we have already a pull request for the version 1.18. That's it. Thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you very much, Eduardo. That's it for today's Status Town Hall. Thank you everyone for giving the updates, and also a massive thank you to everyone that has tuned in today and throughout the whole of 2021. We hope you've enjoyed all the updates. The next Town Hall, as I say, will be in January. We will be skipping December due to it being quite close to Christmas, and we have core contributors away from keyboard on those days. So if we don't hear from you, have a great holiday season. Good health to you and your families, and we look forward to you joining us all on the 17th of January for more updates. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody.